Morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us on today's Big Ten Women's Basketball Coaches Zoom call and for your support of Big Ten Women's Basketball. As many of you know, the Big Ten is coming off a historic 2019-2020 women's basketball season, finishing number 2 in the NCAA RPI rankings. That was the Big Ten's best showing in that report in 18 years. The Big Ten was also poised to send a record-setting 8 teams to the NCAA tournament and 11 to postseason play. Early projections for this season point to similar success, with 5 schools in the AP Top 25 and a 6th school receiving votes. Today's call is the capstone to our 5th annual Big Ten Women's Basketball Preview, with a record-setting amount of digital and print content on all 14 schools. That's available online now through the big10.org/WBB preview website. Today's call is being recorded. It will be posted and archived for playback this afternoon on the women's basketball page at big10.org. It'll also be distributed to our media email list, and those media members wishing to download should contact me at cmasters@big10.org. As a reminder, to ask a question, please either raise your hand in Zoom or let us know that you have a question in the Q&A window. We'll call on you and open your mic to allow you to ask your question and any follow-ups. The first coach on today's call is Michigan's Kim Barnes-Arico. The Wolverines were ranked number 25 in the preseason AP poll released Tuesday, as well as 3rd in the Big Ten coaches poll and 4th in the Big Ten media poll. The Wolverines went 21-11 last season, reaching the Big Ten tournament semis for the 2nd straight year, and they were poised to make the NCAA tournament for the third year in a row. The Wolverines have 4 starters and 9 letter winners back, including junior forward and Big Ten co-player of the year, Naz Hillman. Coach, good morning. I'll let you open with a quick statement, and then we can take some questions from the media.
Good morning, Chris. Great to be here. First, I just want to thank the Big Ten and obviously the University of Michigan for all the protocols that they have put in place to allow us to get to this point where we're going to have a season in about a week and a half. So we're pretty excited to get back. Really bummed. I think our league was bummed about not having an opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament because, as you alluded to, we feel like we are deeper and stronger as a conference than we have ever been before. And I think the country had an opportunity to see that last season. So I know teams are really excited to get going and have an opportunity to represent our conference and our universities again, and start the way we finished last year. For us personally, you know, Naz Hillman is an incredible basketball player, but an incredible young woman. And she's been at the forefront of not only the Big Ten in terms of her basketball abilities, but, you know, our coalition. She's just been such a wonderful representative of our university and our conference. So she's excited about being named preseason all-conference co-player of the year, as we are. But there are so many tremendous players coming back in our conference, you know, such as Ali Patberg and Lindsay Pulliam and Arella Garantes from Rutgers, just to name a few. I mean, we have so many. And, you know, Kate Clark, who's a freshman, so many great freshmen, Rutgers freshmen. I think our league is like I said, great coaches and just tremendous players from top to bottom. So it should be a pretty exciting time for Big Ten basketball.
Thank you, Coach. Let's open it up for questions from the media at this time. Reminder, to ask a question, please either raise your hand in Zoom or let us know that you have a question in the Q&A window. Our first question today is going to be from Cheryl Coward at hoopfeed.com.
Hi, Kim. Good to see you. You talked about Naz briefly, and you have, along with her, 3 returners, but you also have a lot of underclassmen, including 4 freshmen. What are you looking for from these returners to lead this team? Who are you looking to, and what are they going to bring to the table as far as leadership is concerned with all of these underclassmen?
Good morning, Cheryl. I think one of the most important things with any program is experience, and having Naz obviously leading the way is tremendous, but Naz can't do it by herself. Amy Dilk is our point guard, and she has been named to the Lieberman Watch. She has been a starter for us since freshman season. She's a junior as well. So her experience is going to play an important piece. Akenray Johnson is a 5th-year player for us, graduated last year and is now getting her master's in social work. She has a tremendous amount of experience coming back after 2 ACLs during her career. Just her perseverance has been absolutely incredible. And then we have a transfer in Leah Brown, who provides experience as well. So I think that core group of players with Haley Brown, who's a 4th-year senior for us and has been a starter throughout her career, just gives us a tremendous amount of experience. And I think that's really important for us moving forward. And that helps our younger kids as well. You know, we do have 4 freshmen and they're going to be great players for us, but for them to have an opportunity to learn from players like Naz Hillman and Haley Brown and Amy Dilk, I think that's just going to help us moving forward. We have a few sophomores that have been able to give great minutes last year, and Maddie Nolan and Michelle Sedor, and we're expecting them to continue to get better, as some other juniors and Danielle Roush and Emily Kaiser, who have had tremendous off seasons. So we got a core group and some young players as well, and it's been a good mix so far.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Let's take our next question from Christy Winter-Scott at BTN. Christy, go ahead. Okay, we're gonna move on to our next question from Howard Megdor.
Coach, good morning. You hear me okay?
Good morning, Howard. How are you?
I'm good. Great to chat with you as always.
You too.
I wanted to talk to you about sort of a bigger picture question as it relates to Amy and Naz, who are obviously well ahead of schedule in a lot of ways. But when you look at how they get from where they are now to the end of their 4 years and being WNBA ready, what are things you need to see out of each of their games over these next 2 seasons?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think, you know, they have really tried to take steps in their development. And that's going to be an important piece for both of them moving forward, because they do have aspirations to play in the WNBA. Naz is just a tremendous back to the basket player. She has great length. I think a 6'10" or something wingspan. It's incredible. She can catch anything. She finishes incredibly well around the rim. She can run. So in her development, her big piece in the off season has been her face-up game, and she's worked really hard on her ability to get to the rim off the bounce and her ability to knock down open shots. And those are the next steps that she's put in time in the off season to really work on, that I think we're going to see from her this season moving forward. Amy Dilk, she's a player that had to become more of a consistent threat from the outside. You know, she had the ability last year to knock down threes, but she's worked incredibly hard and is doing extremely well in practice, being consistent and being a leader and having a voice. And I think those are important steps in her development and taking those next steps as a point guard. She needs to be a leader on the floor. She needs to be a director on the floor. You know, for us, I always talk about, you know, Sabrina and, you know, how she has so many similarities. Obviously, she's not there yet, but she can affect the game in so many ways. She's had double-digit rebounding games. She's had double-digit assist games. So she's a kid that is capable of having a triple-double on any given night. And, you know, for her to be consistent in those areas and have that consistent motor and to be able to defend all the time are her next challenges. But those are conversations that we have every day with players like that, and really work on those pieces of their games.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Got time for one final question. Let's go to Doug Feinberg at the Associated Press.
Good morning, Coach. Good to see you.
Always great to see you, Doug. And sorry, this is my last question, Christy. I will miss talking to you, but go ahead, Doug.
So not to go on the elephant in the room, but how realistic do you think it is for you guys in college basketball to get to March and play an NCAA tournament this year based on obviously what's going around the country right now?
Yeah, Doug, I mean, that's a great question. And it's a question that we all face every day. And, you know, as I started this morning, I think we are fortunate to be in the Big Ten right now. And we're fortunate to be at the University of Michigan, where we have such incredible resources. And the Big Ten has kind of taken a stand on the protocols that we need to do in order to play games. And I think it's helped to keep our program in a pretty good position right now. But it's going to take a lot, Doug. I mean, we see the numbers rising every day, and we're, wearing our masks and keeping ourselves socially distant and washing our hands and doing all that stuff. But, even before you got on the call, my son is coming home from college, and I'm nervous to see him. And I'm going to have him quarantined, and then I'm not going to allow him to leave the house because I want to have a season. So I think, we're all making tremendous sacrifices, and I think we all have to make tremendous sacrifices. But our players want to play, and our coaches want to play, and we're doing the best that we can. And I think we're all hopeful, and we're going to stay encouraged and do the best that we can. So, Doug, I don't know if I answered your question. I think we're all in the same boat and just trying to do our part. Each person is trying to do their part every day.
You did, Coach. Thanks.
Coach, we appreciate the time this morning. Good luck to you guys this season. We'll hope to see you soon.
Thanks, Chris. Talk to you guys soon.
You bet. And next up on our call this morning is Iowa head coach Lisa Bluter. The Hawkeyes finished with a 23-7 record last year. We're third in the Big Ten with a 14-4 record, and we're 13th in the final NCAA committee tournament seed reveal last season, putting them in position to be a top 4 seed for the 2020 NCAA tournament. The Hawkeyes have 2 starters and 9 letter winners returning this season, led by junior forward and first-team All-Big Ten selection Monica Zinano. Coach, thanks for joining us this morning. Would you mind giving us a few quick thoughts, and then we'll open the floor for questions?
Thanks, Chris. Good morning. This is unusual. Everything's been unusual this year, right? But this year we're coming into this season with graduating quite a bit from last year's group that we had, and just really disappointed that we weren't able to represent our university with the team we had last year. And now we've graduated 3 from that team, and in fact, you look at what we've lost over the last 3 years. The last 3 years, the Big Ten Player of the Year has been wearing an Iowa women's basketball jersey. So we've graduated a lot, but we do return Monica Zinano. We're very excited about her being recognized as a first-team preseason All-Big Ten selection, and just the improvement that she made from freshman to sophomore year was absolutely remarkable, and so proud of her continued improvement this year. But we're young. But I really like my team. We're very talented young, but we don't have the experience that we need yet. We'll get there, but we may have some growing pains. But I'm really excited about this group that we have. Again, I think the Big Ten is amazing this year. You look at everybody in this Big Ten conference, and when I first started here, there was some gimmies, and there are no gimmies anymore. And it's just fun to be in a part of a conference that is the best, one of the very best conferences in America.
Thank you, Coach. Let's open it up for questions from the media. As a reminder, please either raise your hand at Zoom or let us know that you have a question in the Q&A window. Our first question is from Christy Winter-Scott at BTN.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Christy.
36 straight wins at home this season, or from the last couple of seasons, but how will that be impacted this year without the fans there? I mean, I've always told you that the energy in that building is always amazing. How will that change what it feels like on a game day at home?
Yeah, that's a great observation, Christy, because we do have one of the best environments, I think, in women's basketball in the country. I mean, the last 2 years we've been ranked in the top 10 in attendance, and our fans are not only, they show up, but they're very vocal, and they know when to be vocal, and they know when to build that, enthusiasm in our arena. So it's going to be unfortunate playing without them this year because I do think they've been a factor for us. I think they've really contributed to our home court winning streak that dates back 2.5 years now. So we're going to miss them. We're going to have to learn as a young team to bring our own energy and to not count on that. But boy, I can't wait till they're back in Carver.
Thank you, Christy. Our next question is from Kent Youngblood at the Minneapolis Star Tribune.
Hi, Coach. I was wondering, two-part question. Has the virus affected your ability to prepare the season so far? And with the abbreviated non-conference and then jumping right into conference play, what are the challenges presented by that scenario?
Yeah, for us, the abbreviated non-conference, I think hurts quite a bit because we're such a young team. We need those experiences. We need to be on the floor before we face the amazing talent that we're going to face in the Big Ten. So I think for veteran teams, it doesn't hurt them as much. For young teams such as ours, I think it's a detriment. I think you just need to get out there and play and be put in those situations and build confidence and learn from your mistakes before you get into the competition of the Big Ten Conference. How is the virus, excuse me, my phone is ringing. How has the virus affected us? I mean, it's different, right? I mean, being tested every day, coming in wearing masks. These kids are not having a normal collegiate experience in any regard, whether it's on campus, going to class socially, whether it's in the gym. They're not having a normal experience, and it's too bad. It's unfair to them. But I'm so proud of the women on my team because they have not complained once about wearing a mask. They have not blinked. I mean, it's been business as usual. And I am very, very proud of the way that they have handled this situation, because young people can complain. I mean, if you go out and our young people are not complaining, they are mission focused and they come ready to go every day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kent. We have time for one final question for Coach, and it'll be from Howard Megdal at the next.
Coach, good to chat with you. Thanks for taking the time. I just wanted to run by you a specific question about your effective field goal percentage and overall ability to score the ball. To graduate such an efficient scorer like Megan Gustafson, you'd expect to see a dip, but you didn't. You guys were still top 3 in the country in effective field goal percentage this past year. I'm wondering how and why it is about your system that allows that to be something that your teams so consistently do.
Howard, that's thanks for that question. It's something we really work at. I mean, we talk so much about good shot versus great shot. When kids come to your program, every shot they've taken has been a good shot when they were in high school and they were the best player. And sometimes, tempering that back a little bit and making them understand that was a good shot for you last year in high school. That was a good shot for you in AAU, but it's not a good shot for you at this school, at the Big Ten Conference. And so it's really kind of training them mentally to understand what a good shot is from a great shot. And with a young team this year, it's going to be a little bit harder because there's more training that has to be involved in that. We really celebrate the assist. And I know that sounds like something so minor, but everybody celebrates when the person makes the basket. Everybody acknowledges that person. I mean, it's a 3-pointer and everybody throws up their hands, right? But who got him the ball? And so we celebrate that. I always acknowledge it. Who made the assist? We always acknowledge who had the most assists after practice every day. Because if you don't acknowledge the passer, you're obviously you get what you compliment, right? And so we really talk about what's a good shot, what's a great shot, and boy, do we love to pass the ball.
Appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.
Coach, appreciate the time this morning. Look forward to see you on the court this season.
Thanks, Chris. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. The next coach on our call this morning will be Illinois' Nancy Fay. The Fighting Illini went 11-19 last season. They bring back 2 starters and 8 letter winners, including their top rebounder and number 2 scorer from a season ago in sophomore forward Kennedy Miles. Coach, thanks for joining us today. Can you please start with some opening remarks, and then we'll take some questions.
Well, good morning to everybody. Hope everybody is safe and well. It's a big turnover this year for us. We have 6 new players on our roster. We have 2 junior college transfers coming in, Solo Amazon and Gio Lopez, who's going to give us some size, some experience, which we need in those positions, accompanied with 3 freshmen. We also have a transfer, Eva Rubin, a 6'5" post player from Arizona State, and that is going to help us Last year, when I was walking out a lot during the games, we had lost all 3 of our 5 players. I was walking out with them. This year, fortunately, they're running out ahead of me. So we're excited about having a better presence inside. We return 3 freshmen that are now sophomores that saw a lot of action, probably some of the most action in the Big Ten for 3 freshmen. It's hard to throw freshmen in the fire like that, but we did. I think it's going to pay off this year in the way that they understand what the Big Ten competition is going to be, especially with playing more in such a competitive schedule. Obviously, having Kennedy Miles back, our returning leader, scores, points, blocks, and steals. I think that blend of having some of the older kids come in that are transferred in, plus the freshmen, is a nice mix for us this year. We've also added 2 new assistant coaches. So it's a year that's got a lot of change, and we're pretty excited to get started.
Thank you, Coach. Now we'll open it up for questions from the media. As a reminder, to ask your question, please either raise your hand at Zoom or let us know that you have a question in the Q&A window, and we'll call on you and open your mic to allow you to ask your question. We'll start with Nathan Reddy from the Daily Illini.
Hi, Coach.
Good morning.
I wanted to ask about Eva Rubin. She's shared her story already about being an athlete with diabetes and the challenges that come with it. How do you think she has coped with that with the team, and how do you think she has been as an addition to this roster?
Eva is a great role model for our team. The one thing you have to understand when you have a player is diabetic, and she and I had a long conversation when she was deciding where to come. And I had fortunately had another player in my previous position that had experienced this. And I think the one thing you have to understand, it's something that she does an incredible job of handling, and to trust that. And so when she needs to stop, she stops. And I think that sensitivity and understanding has been a really good match for us. Now, when you add 6'5" to your program, someone came from an extremely winning program, it just changes the dynamics of what you can scheme with, what you can do. People have to make more choices. We were really small inside last year, and I think the choices, you could scheme us pretty fairly easy because we were putting a 4-player against most 5 players. This year, with the addition of Eva and Gio, we added, I think, 4 players over 6'3". So that's the excitement part of it, but she's going to anchor that, her experience. She's an old soul. She really gives us great leadership for being a player that came in last semester.
It seems there's always a great energy around this team, and especially in your practices. How do you strengthen your relationships with the team and hold high levels of positivity within the roster?
Spending time with them off the court. And this is especially more challenging now because a lot of that time has changed into Zoom time. But I think it's a time after that we spend before, after, and talking to them. Knowing players on an individual basis, a lot of we talk about that. We always talk about, we care about them as people, but the key of that is the time that you put in with them. Do you spend that extra time? We meet with our players on a constant rotation basis. And I think if you know what's going on with them, them as what motivates them, it's easier to be out in the court because that relationship has been developed so you can push. I think when you don't know them as individuals, it's a really difficult situation. So we try to be in this together all week. We work together. It's not, I push them so hard every day in practice that when it comes game day, they don't understand I'm on their side. And I think that helps create the energy. But a lot of it is coming now. We're a little older team. I've been here 3 years. The culture has changed. And you can feel that when you walk in our gym.
Coach, final question. How do you think the international players on this team have influenced what this roster is like and the diversity of the team?
I think we're like everybody else in this world. It's a melting pot. And when I think you can bring a lot of people together, different cultures, I know I've learned things from them. And I have such appreciation because they come from another country. They don't speak the language, and what they are able to absorb, not only on the basketball court, but on the classroom. And their appreciation is something that I really value. But like our team, we look like the world. We look like, and I think that's a really valuable thing that we can share with each other.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Coach, we have time for one final question. It's going to be from Jim Cotter with Orange and Blue News. Jim, go ahead with your question.
And Jim might not be here. Well, Jim, I appreciate the question. And we're looking forward to the season. How's that, Chris?
I like that, Coach. I think we're going to wrap it up on that one. Thank you so much for joining us today, and best of luck this season.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're going to move on to our next coach on the call, which is Wisconsin's Jonathan Sippes. The Badgers returned 2 starters and 7 letter winners, including junior forward and second-team All-Big Ten pick Imani Lewis from last year's 12 and 19 team. Coach, thanks for joining us this morning. If you could, give us some quick opening comments, and then we'll open the call for questions.
Yeah, Chris, I appreciate everybody being on the call today, and I'm sure, like my fellow 13 coaches in the league, it definitely is a unique time. It is I think a time where you can learn and grow in a different way, and you have to. So we're excited. Obviously, we have a very different roster than when we finished in the Big Ten tournament in March, and with some additions in normal freshman mode, as well as 2 transfers, one in the graduate student category that'll be eligible immediately, and one that will sit out. So we've like most people I know have talked about it, have had to really be outside the box, and I think it's helped our team get to know each other, especially with the infusion of new people earlier. We started this right away when we couldn't have spring workouts to utilize Zoom, and then we were fortunate enough to have a bulk of our roster here in the summertime. But each step we took, we kind of added some more people. So with 5 freshmen and the 2 transfers, and having one of the transfers and 4 of the 5 freshmen here in the summer, even though we started later, I thought it was a great chance for them to be able to start building that chemistry. And then when we had our graduate student Estella Moscow and our last freshman Lovisa Dordstrom from Sweden join us in September, the proverbial bus was already rolling, and it was good because they knew those people. It wasn't all of a sudden that was the first time that they had seen them, through the magic of Zoom like we're doing today. So we're excited. Obviously, we're going to look very different. I think we are, when you graduate 5 seniors, and have 2 others that decide to go in a different direction, you go back to see exactly how your group is going to be best. And I think that's the exciting part for us is that, we've got a group that the 5 freshmen we've known in the recruiting process since they were at least sophomores in high school. And so we've developed, I think, some great relationships. And our current team, obviously, 3 of the freshmen from last year played quite a bit. So I think they're anxious to step into new roles. And we're fortunate with Estella Moscow, as a graduate student. Anybody that could graduate Stanford in 3 years is just on another level academically and from a maturity standpoint. And that's been a great fit, I think, for our young roster, because she's going through things for the first time as a Wisconsin women's basketball player, but not for the first time as a college basketball player. So we're excited. I think it's a fun group. It's a group that I think brings in a lot of winning ways from high school, AAU, and internationally, as well as Stella bringing that from Stanford. So we're excited to continue to grow. And again, you'd be able to use this season, however it may present itself, as a great experience for our group.
Thank you, Coach. Let's open it up for questions from the media. As a reminder, please either raise your hand in Zoom or let us know that you have a question in the Q&A window. We'll start with Kent Youngblood from the Minneapolis Star Tribune.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for your time this morning. Being on the Wisconsin campus and seeing what's happened with the football team, you probably know as well as anybody how difficult it is to navigate a season in the pandemic. How confident are you that the Big Ten can pull this off from here through the tournament next spring?
Yeah, I think as if we haven't, a couple of the words that, that I don't think were used real often before March 13th, you have to be fluid. You have to understand that there might be a stoppage, and whether it's with practices or a cancellation of games. And just like, I'll be honest, like I didn't know what the word asynchronous meant till we got to school year. So, I think the Big Ten has been so thorough, and obviously with the restart with football, and not without bumps, and obviously as we're learning together, there were so many things, by having our group on campus, and them seeing and trying to create our own bubble, even more specific for women's basketball. I think you lay out a plan right now, and with that hopes of a full regular season and a conference tournament and postseason, and then you understand you have to operate day by day. And I think our players have done a good job and have a great appreciation of that. But there's definitely sacrifices you have to make, and especially when you have a young group, and with 7 players who are new to the campus, and asking them to really tighten their bubble, and really outside of academics and basketball, it's they've got to make sure that they're doing things on a daily basis to give themselves the best chance to move forward with what the Big Ten is playing. So again, I think we hopefully, like anything, are learning from when things didn't go the way that were anticipated on our own campus, and hopefully are better for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kent. We're going to move on to our next question. It's from John Arias with the Badger Sports Network.
Hey, Coach. I just kind of a two-part question. The last question kind of stirred one of these. So I apologize if I have missed this information, but do we know the percentage that would shut it down as far as positive test results? I know that number in football. And then a basketball question. Of all these newcomers you talk about on the team, who do you anticipate having the biggest impact, at least right away?
Well, I can tell you, this is where my pharmacy and my math background. So, women's basketball can have up to 32 people tested every day with the antigen tests. And as you're aware, the football percentage is a 5%. With women's basketball, because of the lower numbers, and with men's basketball, it's a 7.5% testing. And so if for some reason we have a positive, out of those tests, and obviously when you're talking about 32, you're talking about more than student athletes. You're talking about, people that are directly doing things with your program day in and day out. So if we're at 7.5 or above in that testing, then that is an immediate 7-day shutdown for the whole program. So a question I have more excitement to answer, John, would be, and it's John Arias, our radio broadcaster, is I think Estella Moscow just brings an unbelievable amount of maturity and knowledge, and a lot of Badger pride. This is somebody that was Miss Basketball in her senior year, right down the road at Edgewood High School here in Madison. Like I said, graduated Stanford in 3 years, and has been such a good influence, not just on the basketball court, but she is going to have a huge impact for us on the basketball court. When I came in this morning, she's down there getting extra shots up. She's brought somebody with her, to get extra shots up as well. It helps, especially our Wisconsin kids watched her growing up playing. So immediately people like Sydney Hilliard and Tara Stoffaker realize that. Natalie Leisinger, who's our freshman from Monroe and played at Blackhawk this past year as well. So I think from that aspect, I also think some of the freshmen are right in the mix, like Hallie Douglas and Brooke Shremick and Kate Thompson, to be able to see, important minutes this year. I think, with Brooke and Hallie and Estella, they bring a different length than we've had, and that helps us from a versatility standpoint. Brooke is somebody that can play inside and out. So again, to give us different options, and especially we'll be playing, inside with Sarah Stapleton, as a true post player to really help us there. So I think with those freshmen, and obviously with Estella, are people who have kind of taken that opportunity with people who have graduated, people who have transferred, and so far through the first 21 practices have made the most of it.
John, appreciate the question. We have time for one more, Coach. It's going to be from Christy Winters-Scott at BTN.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Good. It's always good to hear from DMV's finest there. So
Hey, oh, DMV. Thanks, Coach. But Imani Lewis, just go in depth with how you see her role manifesting with all these new players around you. You alluded to, more size inside, but you also have some younger players. How has she looked and in the new scheme of things for you on both sides?
well, I think the first part, Christy, is how she's had to take over a leadership role. When you graduate, 5 seniors, when you have a starting point guard who opts to transfer, and you have this young group, when you're going from, obviously Imani in her first 2 years has not only played a lot, but played at a high level and been recognized for that. It was discussions early on about how she can be a better leader and how she's going to need to be able to do that. And, she's one of the 4 people in our leadership core. She's somebody that obviously was home in New Jersey, and again had to do things from afar, and I think challenging her. I think that side of things, she's somebody that not only I think has led us from a basketball standpoint, but been very active for social injustice. I think for us and helping educate our team, and I think you see how she's changed her body. What she eats, those things like that. She's stronger, and she understands. I think last year was a great learning tool because, her freshman year, she had Marcia Howard that took a lot of, I think the leadership and even just the day-to-day work ethic on how to build somebody inside. And last year she had Abby to help her, but more was kind of on her shoulders. And then this year, I think it's been really good because I think, she's on that leadership council with, Sydney Hilliard, who obviously played a ton as a freshman, started as a freshman. Estella is on that leadership council. And I think learning from them and sharing ideas, I think her leadership, is something that's going to help grow her game as the time that she's put in, as well as to make our team better. And I told her the other day when, in the preseason, awards came out, like nobody gets anything, that none of that's all based off of, what opinion of what might happen. And she said, Coach, I'm focusing on what's going to happen. And I think that's really important from a maturity standpoint as she improves her game, helps our program improve. And I think with the leadership component, that's something that she's not just going to take with her here for her college eligibility, but moving forward into the future.
Outstanding. Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
Coach, appreciate the time this morning. Best of luck this season. We'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you so much, Chris.
And next up on the call this morning is Northwestern's Joe McCune, the 2020 Big Ten Coach of the Year. The Wildcats are 17th in the preseason AP poll and 2nd in the Big Ten preseason media poll, as well as 4th in the preseason coaches poll. The Wildcats are the defending Big Ten co-champions, winning their first title in 30 years last season and going 26-4 overall, the most wins in school history. The Wildcats were also number 9 in the final NCAA committee tournament seed reveal, putting them in position to earn a top 4 seed and be an early round host for the 2020 tournament. Northwestern brings back 3 starters and 10 letter winners this season, led by 2-time All Big Ten senior guard Lindsey Pulliam, the media's choice as the Big Ten preseason player of the year. Coach, thanks for joining us this morning. Would you mind offering a few opening comments, and then we'll open the call for questions?
Sure, Chris, thank you. And, appreciate everybody being on today. It's good to talk basketball, and, as you mentioned, we're coming off a great year and return, a core of players with a lot of experience. And, we like the people that are coming in as freshmen, and we can add to that. And I think also opportunities with some of our younger players. So, just really excited about getting going. Our practices have been good. They've been competitive, and, we're just ready to go. Hopefully, for all of us in college basketball, the bigger picture of it too, to be able to play at a high level and get through a season.
Thank you, Coach. Let's open it up for questions from the media at this time. As a reminder, to ask a question, please either raise your hand in Zoom or let us know that you have a question in the Q&A window. And Coach, while that's populating, I did get an email question for you from Jack Leto at WNUR Sports. Can you talk about preparing to replace Abby Scheid and Abby Wolf, and which two or more players should we expect to see in those positions, and what part of their skill sets can replicate something close to a 48% three-point shooter or a 7-rebound, 11-point per game center?
Can you repeat all that, Chris? Nah.
Basically, replacing Abby Scheid and Abby Wolf.
No, I got you. Yeah, that's a great question because I'm not sure there's any answer. You know, I think what happens when you have seniors that have the kind of years that they have, you don't really replace them. You know, you move on, but it also creates opportunities too. And I think with Courtney Shaw, who has had a lot of time last year on a great team, gave us great minutes. I think we'll see a lot more of her. And Sydney Wood was really another starter for us at times last year. So, she can play 4 positions. So I think we'll see a lot of Courtney and a lot of Sydney. And then we have two post players that are freshmen, one from Philly, Paige Mott, that we're really excited about. And, great high school player out of New Jersey, Anna Morris, 6'3". So, but you don't replace a year. It's kind of funny, and without getting on a soapbox, Abby Wolf is now playing in Europe. Abby Scheid led the nation in 3-point percentage. Chris led the country and didn't get drafted. And, if you'd have done that, with 30 some NBA teams, I think she'd be playing in the pros right now. So I think she's going to end up going to Europe also. But what great kids and great core players last year from a leadership standpoint. And, they're a lot of fun. I miss both of them every day.
Thank you, Coach. We'll take our next question from Doug Feinberg at the Associated Press.
Hey, Doug.
Morning, Coach. Good to see you.
Too, buddy.
Congrats on the ranking in the preseason. You mentioned a little bit in your opening statement the blessing of college basketball. What do you think the chances are we're going to make it to March with all that's going on and be able to actually play a tournament?
Yeah, Doug, I just feel, right now, just dealing with, everything in Northwestern and Chicago. And I think that's what's in front of me right now. But in the big picture of throughout the nation, we have some challenges, but I also feel like we've learned a lot from what's happened with football. And I think our country's learning. If we could, develop a vaccine at some point, obviously that would make a huge difference. But, as far as college basketball, I think, people are committed to playing. That's really important. And, we'll see where it goes. But, I feel confident. I feel confident that a lot of smart people out there that are trying to make decisions on, number of people at games or the way teams will travel. In the Big Ten, obviously, I feel like we got a lot of leadership. So I feel good, Doug, that it'll work out. Maybe a little bumpy in the preseason, but hopefully we'll get through this and get back to March Madness.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach, we had a question in our Q&A from Coop Daly at North by Northwestern. He wants to know, how are you going to address the hype around the team this season?
Yeah, I think our players, that's a great question. And, we had this magical run last year, and I think where it really caught fire was the amount of people that followed us on campus in Chicago and Evanston, and then from a national standpoint. So our crowds were incredible. And, especially the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season, to win a Big Ten championship, first time in 30 years, and to not play in the NCAA tournament, it was heartbreaking for our program. But we're still trying, still trying to build on the momentum. And I think our players, they're humble, but they also know they really enjoyed that. I told them, you got to enjoy something like that. So I think that's important, Chris. But I think they're handling it well. And I think, not being able to probably have fans will be difficult because we had this great, increase in attendance and support. But I think they'll handle it well. They're pretty mature kids, and we got a lot of upperclassmen.
Thanks, Joe. Our next question will be from Debbie Antonelli at ESPN.
Hey.
Hey, can you hear me?
Go ahead, Deb. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I'm driving. I'm sorry. I was trying to figure it out on my phone. Hey, Coach, you know, one of the big question marks about your team would be help on the glass and being able to rebound with the players that you lost. And I'm asking, I want to ask about the way you play and your style of defense. Can you minimize that lack of size or experience on the front line with the way that you defend?
You know, you hope so, Devin. I think this year we have a team we can probably pressure more and you know, try to speed up the game a little bit, and that's one of our goals. We got some people back with great speed, like Lauren Satterwhite, who'd been injured, who was a great high school player, and just gives us, you know, a little more firepower in transition, and you know, the ability to attack people defensively. So that's, you know, that's kind of our goal, that to offset that, you know, maybe that size difference that, you know, we're going to lose with both Abbeys. But you know, again, Courtney Shaw is really stepping in as you know, she's playing at the rim, and you know, rebounds like one of the great players we had, Nia Coffey. She reminds me of just the way she attacks the glass. So, you know, hopefully we can make up for it. And you know, I think they've bought in. That's the key thing. They've really bought into, you know, we led the league in defense 2 years ago. I think we were second last year. We've always been in the top 3 or 4. So, you know, it's a personal thing for our team and a pride thing.
Coach, appreciate the time this morning. Look forward to following you guys this season, and we'll see you soon.
Sounds good, guys. Thank you. Everybody have a great year. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. And next up on the call today is Indiana's Terry Morin. The Hoosiers are 16th in the preseason AP poll, and they were the consensus favorite to win the Big Ten title, according to preseason polls by the conference coaches and media. Indiana went 24-8 last season, setting a school record for wins, and they finished 4th in the Big Ten before reaching the Big Ten tournament semifinals for the first time since 2006. The Hoosiers were also 14th in the final NCAA committee tournament seed reveal, making them in line to be a top 4 seed and an early round host in last spring's tournament. Indiana has 4 starters and 9 letter winners returning this season, including a pair of all Big Ten honorees in senior guard Allie Patberg and junior guard Grace Berger. Coach, thanks for joining us this morning. Would you mind giving us a few quick thoughts, and then we'll open the floor for questions?
Good morning, Chris. Thanks. We are unbelievably excited about the start of the season. March the 12th last year is not too far from, you know, our thoughts when things got shut down. So we have a very motivated, very hungry, excited group that just wants to play basketball. And we got great leadership with Allie Patberg. Grace Berger has certainly come along with leadership as well. We have some interesting pieces, and each day we're just trying to get a little bit better. But to say that we want this thing to get started and we want to see a full season would be an understatement. So we're thrilled to be here and looking forward to starting here in the next couple weeks.
Thank you, Coach. Let's open it up for questions from the media. As a reminder, to ask a question, please either raise your hand in Zoom or let us know that you have a question in the Q&A window. And we'll start with Christy Winters-Scott from BTN.
Good morning there, Coach.
Hi, Christy.
With your team being chosen first, what kinds of conversations has that really ignited with your team? And on the other side of it, you said your team was hungry because of what happened in the spring. With 4 returning starters back, how has that hunger been intensified, and what are those conversations like?
Well, I'll start for the second question first. We were one of the few programs that were not put in a pause here at Indiana. And so we had a 6-week training camp in June that led into July, which I thought was great for our team. Although things were different, we still were able to be together. We were still training. We were still Zooming, you know, even though we were, you know, in the same town of Bloomington. And so I think that was so good for us because we'd had that, you know, that pandemic break, and just for them to be back, the connection was what they missed the most. And even though they weren't able to train as a team, they were still around teammates. And we could watch them from afar upstairs in our offices, and then obviously being on the floor with them. I thought that was so important for them. But their games just continue to grow. Mackenzie Holmes really took advantage of the pandemic back in Maine, and has added, a 3-point shot in her arsenal, which I think is just going to open up her game. Is certainly going to help us offensively. And then to answer your first question, if you know me, we don't really, talk about the whole poll, that came out this past week, although I thought it was important for our group to understand that it's the significance of the sort of the history of Indiana women's basketball, and the fact that I don't think that they've ever been picked to win anything. And so, what I took from that, and what I wanted our kids to understand, is that there were kids before them, like the Tyra Busses and the Amanda Cahills, that have helped certainly build this program. And now that we have, our current kids that continue to work every day, and are positioning us to put ourselves in a position to have some success. But what I was really taken away with was how grateful I was that we were selected by our peers, the Big Ten coaches. I thought that was important for our, it's one thing for the media, but it's another thing, because the media, I know you guys see us a lot, but some of the other media nationally, they don't see us play probably as much. And so, for our peers to feel as though our program has come a long way, and to look at our starters, the guys that we have returning, in such an impressive way. That's what we took away from it. But I said this is the last time we're going to talk about it. And we tore it up and we got back to work. So that's kind of how we've handled both of those.
Love it. Thank you, Coach.
Coach, our next question is from Debbie Antonelli at ESPN.
Hey,
Good morning,
Karen.
Debbie.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm great.
Good. Every coach that comes on here today is going to talk about how much they love their team and how great their leadership is. I want you to take a deeper dive on your team about what that means about leadership and how that manifests itself every day in the culture that you have created at Indiana.
Wow. Well, the deeper dive, I think starts with obviously Allie Patberg. And I've said this, I've been asked about Allie's leadership, and not only off the floor, but on the floor. And I think what's going to be real important, for us this season is for Allie Patberg to be selfish, and for Allie Patberg to be incredibly aggressive offensively. I think by her doing that, and her taking this, and she's never really taken the back seat, but she's always been on the side, right, of trying just to include everybody, and facilitate, which is great. She's going to keep doing that, but I think for us to be and have the level of success we want to have, Allie has to be an alpha dog out there for 40 minutes. And I think that's where it starts. We found this a year ago, that the more aggressive Allie is, the more aggressive I think the pieces around her feel like they can be, and the more freedom they have, to do things that they are really good at. And so Allie gives everybody confidence, including her coach. But I think what we need is to see an Allie Patberg that's going to be consistent with her play each and every night, but also is going to be way more selfish than she's been in years past here. So I hope that answers your question.
Coach, we have time for one final question. We have time for one final question, and it's going to be from Stefan Krajishniak with Indiana Daily Student.
Okay.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. With Grace Berger, you've talked a lot in the past in terms of just trying to get her to speak up a little more, be a little more vocal. With her game developing, with the acknowledgement she's getting in the preseason, what do you kind of see her developing both on and off the court as a leader for the team?
Well, obviously her play is incredible right now. She's by far been our best player in practice. When I say that, I just mean from a consistency standpoint. And I think with that, anytime that you see consistency in your play, I think you become more comfortable. I think you become more confident. And so now we're seeing Grace also have a voice, and she's helping Allie lead this basketball team. But she's been way more vocal right now than she's ever been. And I just think that comes from her growth as a player, as a person here at Indiana. But also, I think her confidence is at a high level, and it simply is because her work ethic is just incredible. And anytime you work the way she does, she's just gained this unbelievable amount of confidence, and so I think that helps her voice as well.
Coach, appreciate the time this morning. Thanks again for joining us.
Thanks,
and all the
Chris.
best for a successful season.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
And next up on our call this morning is Purdue head coach Sharon Bursup. The Boilermakers are coming off an 18-14 season and were projected to return to the NCAA tournament last spring following a trip to the Big Ten tournament quarterfinals. Purdue returns 3 starters and 13 letter winners this season, while also welcoming a top 25 recruiting class that features 2 SEC transfers. Coach, thank you for joining us this morning. Can you start us off with an opening statement? Then we'll take some questions from the media.
Yes, hello, Chris. And, we're just anxious to hopefully get a season in this year. Like you had talked about being projected to play in the NCAA. And we had obviously some great leadership with Ariana Harris and Dominique Oden. And, we were able to work out this summer as well and in small groups. So, I think that was great for us. We have 2 freshmen that have, brought in a lot of different qualities and talent in their own right. 6'6" Rashea Kyle, Madison Layden, around 6'1", 6'2". But all our returners, we have a lot of experience now, seniors and juniors. And I think what's really going to help us is our depth. And we have more athleticism, more length than we've ever had here. And so just looking forward to, having a chance to play against somebody else, and hope to have a season.
Thank you, Coach. Let's open it up for questions from media at this time. To ask a question, please either raise your hand in Zoom or let us know that you have a question in the Q&A window. We'll start with Christy Winter-Scott from BT.
Hey there, Coach. How are you?
Good, Christy. Great to hear from you.
Great. With McLaughlin coming back this year, how have you seen her kind of morph into more of a leader, not just statistically, but now just really stepping into that major role of being the leader of the team?
Well, when you talk about leadership, and Debbie asked this to a couple coaches, it's the intangible leadership. On the court, you always have it, and she expects excellence, competition. She'll get on players, she'll encourage players. But I think that continued to evolve when we went through the pandemic, and all of our seniors constantly got together and talked and took some leadership through those 6 months that kind of everybody was shut down for a while. And that cohesiveness is now, has really transformed on the court. And so, she's going to demand to be the best every single day from every single player. And our competitiveness and our length and our depth is really fun to coach right now. And, it always stems from her, whether she's out there playing or sitting on the sideline.
Thank you, Coach.
We'll take our next question from Isaac Gothic.
Hi, Coach. With the Big Ten being such a competitive conference, what is it going to mean for you this year with playing on 20 conference games in the Big Ten?
With the pandemic, we all have to do what we have to do. We know that from top to bottom, our league's one of the toughest. Could have got 8 or 9 teams into the NCAA. So we know every day is going to be extreme competition. I think the biggest thing is try to stay healthy. throughout the year. I think if teams are able to stay healthy, again, you're going to see that type of talent and the competition and high scoring and exciting basketball. And that's what we want from the Big Ten. We've challenged each other quite a bit. But, with this pandemic, you never know. You could, have 3 or 4 kids out or not with contact tracing. So the biggest thing is just trying to make sure you stay in your bubble and do the best that you can.
One final question for Coach. It's going to be from Debbie Antonelli at ESPN.
Hey, Sharon, I'm so glad I figured out how to do this Zoom thing while I'm driving. We know the league is good, and we know how balanced the league is. But this year, in my mind, I'm looking at the league like it is almost wide open. I mean, I think there are so many good teams this year. And because of all the things that you just mentioned, building off the last question, take me through the basketball part of it. Why is the league so much better or seems to be so much more balanced this year from your perspective?
Well, I think, we just talked about, recruiting at the highest level, upping up our competition, going to 18 conference games last year. And we want to be one of the best leagues in the country. So I think you've got great coaching. You're getting top recruiting. And, every single day we're trying to push ourselves. And as a league, we've dedicated ourselves to that. So you're getting a lot of different styles of play. Which I think is great. Everybody's known for a certain style, supposedly in certain leagues. And this league is you can play as fast as you can play physical, you can play big, you can play small. So I think we have such a wide range of talent throughout our Big Ten. Is that what makes us really special? And that's where people need to continue to look at our conference.
Coach, appreciate the time this morning. Thanks for joining us and best of luck this season.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up on the call is Maryland head coach Brenda Fries. The Terrapins are the highest ranked Big Ten team in the preseason AP poll at number 12, and they were ranked second in the Big Ten preseason coaches poll as well as third in the preseason media poll. The Terrapins earned a share of their 5th Big Ten title in 6 years and their 4th Big Ten tournament title last spring, going 28-4. And Maryland was projected as a number 1 seed in the final NCAA committee seed reveal for the 2020 tournament. The Terrapins have 4 letter winners returning this season, led by sophomore guard and preseason All-Big Ten selection Ashley Owusu, plus 6 newcomers that feature 3 transfers and the nation's number 2 incoming freshman in Angel Reese. Coach, good morning. Thanks for joining us. If you wouldn't mind, please give us a quick opening statement, then we'll take some questions.
Yeah, good morning, Chris. And, excited to finally have this day arrive. And like you mentioned, a lot of new faces, but obviously some familiar ones as well. I can't say enough for our sophomores with Ashley Owusu and Diamond Miller coming back. They've made that jump that you expect from your freshman to your sophomore year. I mean, it's been fantastic to be able to watch just how comfortable and confident those two are. And then you add in number 2 ranked Angel Reese. And, I've said this to a lot of people. I mean, I've been really fortunate here in Maryland to recruit some pretty incredible special players. But when it's all said and done, she might rank right up there as the most competitive player that I've ever coached. I mean, she has put her stamp not only with her talent, but just her leadership has been pretty special to be able to see of an incoming freshman. And then the transfers we've had. You look at a Katie Benson out of Harvard, has helped replace, the 3-point shooting that we lost. I mean, a dynamic shooter for us, really high IQ. Chloe Bibby, who's played in the Final Four, great toughness from Mississippi State, another weapon. This team actually, I think, shoots the 3 better than last year's team. And, remarkably, I think is more competitive than last year's team early. Haven't played a game yet, so we'll see, but all indications right now. And then, just the health of having Shanice Lewis come back. She's healthy, playing extremely well. And then Mimi Collins, who spent the year sitting out as a transfer last year. So, the pieces are coming together, and we're looking forward to, tipping off.
Thank you, Coach. Let's take some questions from the media. As a reminder, to ask a question, please either raise your hand in Zoom or let us know that you have a question in the Q&A window. We'll start with Doug Feinberg with the Associated Press.
Morning, Coach. Good to see you.
Hi, Doug. How are you?
Great. it's been a coaching cliche, so to speak, of you go day by day as opposed to looking ahead too far. But it seems this year of any year that cliche is more apt because you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. How are you guys focusing on, with obviously what's going on around the country and world, focus on the day by day? And the second question is, how do you envision, or do you envision us getting to March and having a tournament this year based on what's going on around the country?
Oh, well, now you're asking opposite ends of the question, right? Are we going to
Yeah.
get to March? I mean, because the one thing I was saying is I think for all coaches, I mean, you've learned flexibility. I think that you cannot control the unknown. So it's really made coaches, I think, have to understand right now and being present. So, that's where we're focused at is, every day we get is a precious gift that we get to be together. And when you talk about March, we've all seen what that looks like. We've had that taken away from us. So we're in a pandemic. I don't think you can predict anything out there. You're just holding your breath that vaccine is going to come out, and that things are going to turn in a different direction instead of trending up right now. So we're just appreciating the gift of time that we get together right now.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Our next question is from Debbie Antonelli at ESPN.
Hey, good morning, Brenda. I got three things for you. Number one is, what is it like not being picked to win the league? Number two, go a little bit deeper on Angel. If she's as competitive as some of the greats that you've had, that's quite a compliment. And then, how do you see Chloe fitting in offensively?
Yeah. I think, what was your first question?
Usually you're picked to win the league. This year you're not.
Yeah. I've never, preseason predictions of, they're nice, I guess, accolade of your program, but they don't, predictions have never meant anything to us. I think especially in a year, with so many unknowns. So, for us, it's just continued to get better. It makes sense when you lose your starting five to be in the position we're at. But I think at the same point, I really like this team. I'm hoping we get a season because this may be the closest, kind of the neatest team I've ever coached. And like I said, it starts with Angel Reese. You know how competitive Alyssa Thomas is, but Angel has a voice behind it. She's got the confidence. She, will, call out exactly what I'm thinking before I say it, so I don't have to say it. And I've never had that take place for a freshman coming in. So just an incredible blessing to have a player so confident. She just wants to win and isn't afraid to show her competitiveness. And Chloe Bibby, can't say enough for that kid. I mean, quickest release of any player I've seen from distance. I mean, shoots the ball extremely well from the 3-point line. And then, just has an extreme level of toughness from playing in the SEC under Vic defensively at the Final Four. I mean, she's been an incredible addition to our program.
Coach, we have time for one final question. It's from Howard Megdal at The Next.
Hey, Howard.
Hi, Coach. Great to chat with you as always. I wanted to expand a little bit about Chloe, and specifically, you have had no shortage of WNBA players come through your program. And I'm wondering how the shape of her game is similar to any that you've had prior to this, number one, and number two, what she needs to do from now until her name is called to get to where she needs to be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to liken her to somebody maybe, and I would say where Tiana got to in her pro career is maybe Tiana Hawkins. But she shoots the three at a way higher clip than what Tiana did in college. So she's also kind of similar to a Tierney Fearman that was in here with her ability to shoot the three, but just has, greater quickness, toughness, rebounding ability, super versatile, and is going to be able to play multiple positions for us. So definite need for us when you talk about the maturity and experience that we lost to be able to gain someone that is so talented. And, for the league, I think, she's coming in with a full package. I mean, she's healthy, her knee is strong, and she's we feel fortunate to have her eligible, that we'll have her for the next 2 years.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Coach, appreciate the time this morning. Thanks for joining us, and best of luck this season.
Thank you.
Next up on the call is Nebraska's Amy Williams. The Cornhuskers posted a 17-13 record last season. They were in position to earn a postseason berth for the second time in 3 years. Nebraska has 2 starters and 5 letter winners back, including honorable mention All-Big Ten senior center Kate Kane, along with a 7-player incoming class that features 4 transfers. Coach, thanks for joining us this morning. If you could, please offer up some opening comments, and then we'll open the call for questions from the media.
Thanks, Chris, and thank you for everyone that's on the call and supporting Big Ten women's basketball today. This unique time has really provided us a great opportunity to kind of take a step back and evaluate how well we embrace change. I think that applies to our roster first and foremost. We've had a lot of change and losing several players to graduation and a few to transfer has put us in a position where we have 7 new players, 4 transfers and 3 freshmen into the program. Embracing change also applies to just kind of handling the daily changes in health directives, injuries, who's available, just all of that. So I think we've been trying to just find new ways to challenge our team and keep stretching the muscles of like adaptability, giving players different reps. We even had Kate Kane talking about being a point center, which I think might be stretching it just a little bit, but we've been trying to practice some adaptability, and I'm really proud of the way that this group has been showing that adaptability and in some ways just approaching every day, just like, today is a blessing that we get to be out here and be together. I think there's a new appreciation for, practice and practice time together, and just approaching every day like, we need to get better today. It's kind of taken a little bit of releasing some of the strains that, kind of that stress of wondering what's up next, can potentially bring. So I've been proud of this group, and we're excited to get things rolling.
Thank you, Coach. Let's open it up for questions from the media at this time. To ask a question, as a reminder, please either raise your hand in Zoom or let us know that you have a question in the Q&A window. We'll start things off with Sam McCune from the Omaha World Herald.
Hi, Sam.
Sam, is your line open?
Yes, it is now. Sorry about that.
There we go.
Can you hear me okay?
I can, yes.
Okay. I wanted to ask about Bella Cravens and whether she got an NCAA waiver to play for you guys right away this year. And then I noticed in your team photo that Taylor Kissinger is in it and seems to have like sort of a coach's pullover on. So I'm curious what her role is going to be and just how you see your Bella Cravens.
Yeah, Bella has been approved a waiver to play immediately, and we're really excited about that news because she's just been a great addition. She is a tremendous athlete that led, her league in rebounding, and so I think something that we really need some help with, and she's proven to be all that. She also has an incredibly soft touch around the basket, has proven to really finish a lot better than I was kind of expecting, and brings another element to our team. So we're excited about that news. And Taylor Kissinger has moved kind of into a role. She's just really been kind of the jack of all trades, and she has a desire to get into kind of the coaching profession. She's applying into the So You Want to Be a Coach program, and she has kind of taken, we had a little transition with video coordinator, and she stepped into that role and was really learning a lot about video and handling a lot of that for us while we were in transition. She's also kind of been an assistant director of basketball operations of sorts. She's just really doing everything she can to kind of learn the behind the scenes stuff now that she has had to retire from her active playing career.
Thank you.
And next up is Brent Wagner with the Lincoln Journal-Star.
Hi, Brent.
Yeah, hi, Amy.
Can you just give an update on Nicole Caton, how her knee is doing and what she's able to do in practice and now, and then what you're hoping she can do for the team this year?
Yeah, Nicole's progress has just been great, and we're very excited. She's not 100% doing full court, full contact just yet, but she is in a position where she's been doing a lot of live half-court drills and really progressing, showing a lot of strength, and she's just a different animal when she's on the court with us. And she plays hard. She brings a great enthusiasm and confidence to the court. And we're excited to just watch her continue to progress back to being cleared to be on the court with us.
Coach, we have time for one final question. We're going to take that from Howard Megdal at the next.
Hi, Howard.
Hi, Coach. Great to chat with you as always. I'm hoping we could talk about Kate Kane and where her game needs to get to by the time her name is called in a WNBA draft. She's obviously already at an elite level when it comes to shot blocking. What else are you thinking we need to see from her to get to that point where, say, her name is called in the first round?
Well, I think she needs to be more consistent, just with her her presence and just scoring ability, and I think just she's been working to really add a few things and elements to her game. I don't know that she needs to be a true point center like we were kind of joking about earlier, but she knows that kind of that next step for her is really being able to expand and being comfortable on the perimeter, and so she's been working hard at that, and I think she's being tough, and her go-to move she's pretty good at. Now she's working hard to develop some counters, and has been way more confident, and I think that's going to help her status there.
And just to follow up briefly, do you think she can and should be a first-round pick when push comes to shove next year?
I really think that, we haven't done just a full analysis of what the entire, country and senior players that are draft eligible are kind of looking like, and really stacking things up there. But I do think that if she continues to work and really gets better, she has some very special and unique talents that could definitely put her in position to be in that role.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach, appreciate the time this morning. Thanks for joining us, and best of luck this season.
Thanks so much, Chris.
Next up on the call this morning is Michigan State's Susie Merchant. The Spartans are coming off a 16-14 season, and we're in position to earn a postseason berth for the 18th time in 19 years. MSU brings back 2 starters this year, including junior All-Big Ten guard Nia Clouden, as well as a 5-player incoming class that includes 4 transfers. Coach, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Would you please start us off with a quick opening statement? Then we'll take some questions from the media.
Sure. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate the opportunity. And hello to all our media friends out there. Boy, it sounds like everybody who has come on and had an opening statement here as a head coach has had the same sentiments. I think that feeling of appreciation, that feeling of gratitude just for an opportunity for our kids to, one, be together and potentially have a season here has been important. It certainly has been a time of flexibility, change, opportunity for our young people to really kind of grow and handle adversity as it comes. As most coaches, as we head into a season, there's a lot of excitement. We have the same feeling, certainly led by Nia Clouden, our first team all conference preseason pick. And she's just a tremendous point guard, somebody that really creates for other people, at the same time has sort of learned to be a different kind of scorer for us too, and a little bit more of a presence on the court every possession. So, she's certainly somebody that we're going to look to this season to build our team around, and has done a really great job in the off season, committing to her game to get better. We have a nice blend. Chris mentioned we have a handful of transfers, a grad transfer, and a couple other Division I 4-year transfers as well. So it's been a neat mix. We have some experience, even if they've never played in a uniform, obviously, for us at Michigan State, just due to the transfer piece. But at the same time, we do have quite a bit coming back. So it's been a fun group to be around, and we're looking forward to the season. So again, thank you everyone for being here.
Thank you, Coach. Let's open it up for questions from the media. As a reminder, to ask your question, please either raise your hand in Zoom or let us know that you have a question in the Q&A window. We'll start with Christy Winters-Scott from BTN.
Hey, Coach, how are you, Susie?
I'm good.
Great. With the no scout players rule this year and a lot of new faces, as you were just alluding to, how has that really helped manifest your chemistry and allowing more reps for the actual team?
Well, it's kind of funny. I was joking with one of my friends who's a mid-major coach, and I was kidding around about how I feel like I'm a little bit back at Eastern Michigan with regards to there. We didn't have a scout team at a mid-major level. There just wasn't enough, and we were a commuter-based school at the same time. So, not always having scout team or people to go up against is certainly different and unique, but I think you kind of nailed it within your question, where I do think it's we relied on those that scout team a lot in the past, and maybe kids that weren't getting enough reps now are getting those reps. And so I think the skill development, I think their conditioning level, their competitiveness, I think all those things rise when you don't always rely just on your handful of scout boys that show up every single day. I think it's easy as a coach to fall into one team versus the other, and the other team most of the time is the scout boys. So for us, I think it's been a real beneficial opportunity for us to blend a team that, has a lot of different moving parts, certainly.
Thank you.
Our next question is from Brian Calloway at the Lansing State Journal.
Morning, Susie.
Hi, Brian.
You mentioned Nia Cloud and earlier, and kind of what's the next step in kind of the development for her? And can you also give me an overall glimpse of kind of the team's health with the kind of season on the horizon here?
Yeah. Well, first of all, with Nia, I think the one thing she's really been dynamic at is obviously attacking the rim. She's certainly someone that has that nice complete game getting to the rim and the pull up, but the three ball is something that she's been kind of up and down with her consistency. And so I think that's something this off season she's been able to really dive into. She's shooting the ball better than she ever has before from the arc. I think that's the piece for the next level for her. Obviously, she's still has 2 more years with us, but I think if she's going to continue to get where she has to get, I think, her ability to knock down that three ball consistently is something she's really worked on. Health of the team, probably like everybody on this call, it's interesting. It's an adventure. Every time I get a text from my trainer, I'm always a little bit nervous to open it, to be honest. But, we've had some aches and pains. We've had Sydney Dodd ended up having a surgery and she's out for the year. We've had another couple minor surgeries where kids are out now. We're hopeful to get them back. Ardrika Cook is coming off an Achilles tear from last year, and was it, really to me is someone that, I do appreciate her toughness, her warrior mentality. I mean, she's had 3 major season-ending injuries, where she's had to have surgeries from ACLs to compartmental syndrome, and now last year to an Achilles. But she looks as good as I've seen her, and she's been able to go full go in every practice and is really doing a great job leading us. We have, like I said, some tweaks, some aches and pains, but for the most part, we're fairly healthy at this point.
Thanks, Susie.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, we have time for one final question. It'll be from Debbie Antonelli at ESPN.
Hey, Susie, good morning.
Hi, Deb.
I got 3 things for you. You've spent a lot of time talking about Nia, and I know how well she's respected by the Big Ten coaches, but it seems to me that she's maybe a little overshadowed on the national scene, so I wanted you to address that. And then I wanted to know which transfer has had the greatest impact. And then the third thing is, when I've been up there, your fans are great, and there's a chance you might not have them. Have you done anything without having exhibition games or whatever to be able to simulate what it will be like going from the practice facility to your arena?
Yes, those are three great questions. I'll try to remember all. With regards to Nia, I agree with you. I'm not sure why sometimes when I see some of these watch lists, why she's not on there. I certainly think she's worthy of that, as you mentioned. She last year had to take a more significant role and in some ways an unexpected role for us in a step forward when we lost Shay Colley, we lost Coco Gaines, two primetime starters for us that had a lot of experience. Drika went down, so she ended up, her role changed from a facilitator to someone we have to really kind of make sure she gets the ball in her hands and does some things for us from a scoring standpoint. So I do think, it gives her an opportunity to prove herself, certainly, but I do think she's worthy of being on some of the a little bit more nationally recognized. In terms of transfers, I mean, that's a tough one. We still have some kids in the hopper that are in the NCAA waiver hopper, I guess, waiting to hear. Certainly you look at the kids that we have a grad transfer who is obviously eligible to play right away. And I would say probably of both of them, certainly Janae Crooms would probably be the one that stands out to me right now. We recruited her hard out of high school and she's transferred into us. She's very dynamic, great leader, vocal, engaging, great teammate, super talented. So I would say definitely probably her. And then to answer the last question, we haven't done anything yet, but ironically, you asked this question, we are going to on Sunday. Both the men and the women, we're going to try to do just our own inter squad scrimmage, not against each other, obviously, but against ourselves, and really have our event staff come in and work with everything from the music to the crowd noise. As you mentioned, Michigan State women's basketball has a tremendous following in terms of attendance, and so we're going to miss those fans a lot if we're not allowed to have them, which is what it's looking like. So we're really going to put that to the test this Sunday. So I might be able to answer your question, Deb, a little bit, more in depthly on Sunday night. So give me a call, right?
I will be calling you.
Okay.
Coach, that's all we have time for today. Thanks again for joining us and best of luck this season.
All right. Thank you for having me. Take care, everyone. Stay safe.
Mm-hmm. Next up on the call is Penn State's Carolyn Keeger, who's beginning her second season in State College. The Lady Lions will have a lot of new faces on the roster this year, with 13 newcomers, 5 of whom are transfers, joining 3 returnees, which include sophomore guards McKenna Marissa and Anna Camden. Coach, thanks for joining us today, and good morning. And would you please start us off with a quick opening statement, then we'll turn it over to the media for questions.
Well, thanks so much for everyone joining in today. It's great to be seeing you as you will, but we're ecstatic for games to start and for the opportunity to rep Penn State on the court this season. Now more than ever, I think we realize how fortunate we are to be able to wear that jersey and represent Penn State with pride. I want to start by thanking, like everyone has done, our Penn State Athletic Administration, the Big Ten office, and all those who have been involved with our return to sport operations during this COVID pandemic. The amount of work and time that has been put into keeping our teams and staffs healthy have been nothing short of amazing. And these challenging times have absolutely shown that our conference and universities have came together, have risen above, and given our student athletes a chance to fulfill their dreams. So we're obviously very appreciative every day for that. Our thoughts are with all those who have been directly affected by the pandemic. And I'm personally sending out well wishes to all of you and your families of continued health. I'm thrilled to have a chance to talk about our team. We have so many new faces. And I'm confident our Penn State fans and the media are going to fall in love with this team, their toughness and their resiliency. And I'm just incredibly proud of this group's sacrifice and commitment to making the season a reality.
Thank you, Coach. Let's open it up to questions from the media. As a reminder, to ask a question, please either raise your hand in Zoom or let us know that you have a question in the Q&A window. We'll start with Christy Winter-Scott from BTN.
Hey there, Coach.
How we doing?
Great, great, great. With 13 new players, 8 of those being freshmen, you have been called the bona fide unifier through this entire situation. I mean, it would already be a little difficult, with all those new young players, but with the circumstances that we're all going through right now with the pandemic, how has that quality in you been just really empowered? How are you really working extra hard, I would say, to unify this new group of resilient, hungry players?
Yeah, great question. I'm thankful for my experience of rebuilds down with Coach Meyer at Miami and then at Marquette. We were in very similar situations. I think my second season at Marquette, we only had 2 returners. So going through it once before has absolutely given myself and my staff confidence. But in terms of doing it during a worldwide pandemic with 13 new players, absolutely a new feat that we're going through. But a lot of credit goes to my players and the amount of time that they've spent building our chemistry right now. A lot of credit to our 3 returners, Anna Camden, Shea Higgins, and McKenna Marisa, who bought into our vision, are pouring into being culture drivers. And I've just been amazed at how quickly our chemistry has formed with this new team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach, our next question is from Kent Youngblood at the Minneapolis Star-Tribune.
Hi, Coach. Along those lines, I mean, you talk about an abbreviated preseason schedule before you jump right into the Big Ten. Some coaches have talked about how a veteran team might be an advantage there. You are on the very other end of the spectrum with so many newcomers. Will that make the challenge even bigger with so many new faces in such a short time to kind of get everybody on the same page?
Well, we like pressure and we like challenges, so we're all welcoming it right now. But our transfers have been huge for us. Kelly Jacot from Villanova has been someone who has really taken this team on her back. And she is someone that I coached against for 3 years while I was at Marquette and always admired from afar. So the chance that I get to coach her now and be around her every day and help mentor and motivate her has been a joy. She's been a blessing to coach and has done so much for our young players and just our culture, and her basketball IQ sets her apart so much. But she's a big time player and been a huge impact to helping our young crew out right now, as well as Janasia Cash from SMU and Nia Beverly from Wisconsin.
Coach, we have time for one more question. It's from Elton Hayes at CNHI, Pennsylvania.
Good morning, Coach. It's good to see you.
Absolutely, Elton. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Coach, I wanted to ask you a question here. Chemistry and culture driving is a big part of your coaching philosophy. It was with you at Marquette. You brought it here last year during your first season. I imagine that's got to be kind of difficult given everything going on with the pandemic and just the social distancing and everyone kind of being in isolation. What are some ways this team and you and your coaching staff have gone about building that chemistry, that culture, given these challenges presented by the pandemic?
Well, I think the good thing to take out of this right now is that we're in our bubble here on campus. So we've been having so much time to hang out as a unit and as a group and grow together. We've done unique things of a blue-white week where we've competed against each other on off the court activities. It might be flag football, it might be beach volleyball, or whatever it might be, coming together to just spend time together off the court in ways to grow and get to know each other more. We have a concept that we call Pride Time every day, and it's 15 minutes that we spend on stuff outside of X's and O's and just doing vision boards and getting to know who we are as people. Because I obviously believe culture starts with relationships and trust. So we've been doing a lot of that. When you have 13 new players, they need to get to know each other and know what make each other tick before you can trust each other to know where you're going to be on the court. So been spending a ton of time on our mission, our vision, and our core principles, and making sure our players are culture drivers first.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Coach, thanks so much for joining us today. Best of luck this season.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate you.
Mm-hmm. And next up on the call is Minnesota's Lindsay Whalen. The Gophers went 16-15 last season and had positioned themselves to reach the postseason for the 8th time in 9 years. Minnesota returns 2 starters and 4 letter winners this season, led by senior guard Godiva Hubbard and Big Ten all-freshman team guard Jasmine Powell and Sarah Scalia. Coach, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Can you start us off with a quick opening statement? Then we'll turn it over to questions from the media.
Good morning. Absolutely. Thanks for having me. And it's fun that this day is finally here. It feels great that we're moving towards a season, towards games, and this is always a big kickoff. So just to get to this point is a big accomplishment. And it was, I tell our team all the time, it was about 3 or 4 days after the Big Ten tournament when we were flying home from the tournament that essentially this pandemic took over, and a few days later, the NCAA tournament, the NIT, everything was canceled. And so now we're back and we made it. We've made it through. We've made it to this point, and and that's obviously a really, really cool thing that we're able to be in practice, to be around each other. It's taken a ton of work from our trainers and doctors and administrators, and not only here at Minnesota, but throughout the Big Ten Conference. So I thank everyone for everything that it's taken, the amount of sacrifice it's taken to be able to get to this point. And we're thrilled that we're practicing. I tell my players, don't look too far ahead, don't look too far back, especially during this pandemic. That holds true for most times in our lives, and never more than now during this pandemic. So we're working for today. We have it's all we got. It's Friday the 13th, so we might as well make it happen and have a great day. So with that, we're looking forward to the season and whatever that looks like. The players want to play. They want to compete. Our players want to get out here, compete. They've been working hard, whether it's here on campus or when they've been home. They're ready to play. They're chomping at the bit, and we're excited to give them every opportunity to go out and compete on the court this season.
Thank you, Coach. Let's open it up for questions from the media. As a reminder, please either raise your hand in Zoom or let us know that you have a question in the Q&A window. We'll start things off with Doug Feinberg from the Associated Press.
Hey, Coach, good to see you.
Doug, you're on my Zoom.
I know, it's crazy. You're in my seat.
Yeah, man, come on.
So I think I saw you guys had a pause for a couple days last week.
Yeah. It was tough week, but we're getting to the other side, and as I said, we're practicing today, so we're looking forward to that.
Can you just walk me through what exactly happened and like what the timetable's been for you guys over the last week?
Yeah, we had like a lot of teams are going through. We had a string of some positive cases, and we had to do the right thing by not only those who have been directly affected, but everybody in our program. So from managers to coaches to everybody. So we took a few days just to kind of gather, keep learning, keep figuring out what's best for everybody on our team and within our cohort, tier, bubble, whatever you want to call it. We've been going with cohort lately here. We've been going with cohort. So kind of keeping everybody safe, making sure we're doing everything we can and with safety first. And so yeah, we took some time to make sure that we strung some days together where there was no new cases, and we've done that. And so now we're back in the gym, and had a really good day yesterday, and had a couple good days of individuals earlier this week, and we'll finish out the week today with another good one, and just take it one day at a time.
And just to follow up, I know you just said take it one day at a time, but how confident are you that we'll get to March with all that's going on around the country?
Well, one way or another, the calendar is going to keep flipping. We'll get to March. I don't know exactly what that means for all sports, not just women's basketball, but college sports, pro sports, as far as playing and having the season go smoothly. We'll see. I hope so. We're taking every precaution possible. We're doing everything we can. These players deserve that opportunity to go out here later this month, compete, work hard, continue this journey, go through the ups and downs, and get to a March, because that's what it's, those are the times that the memories are made and the times you cherish. So today I'm confident. I'll just say that, Doug, because March is going to happen one way or another. Now I hope we're playing, and I hope that everything goes smoothly. And like I said, every team, every university, every conference is doing everything they can to make sure that everybody's doing it safely. And we just have to keep following the guidelines and listening to the doctors and trainers. And if we do those things, I think we can pull it off.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep. Thanks, Doug.
Coach, we had a question written in from Charles Hallman at the Spokesman Recorder. He wasn't able to join us in person. He wanted to know about Godiva Hubbard's leadership skills this season.
Oh, she's been great. She's been tremendous. She's been someone here. Now this is her 5th year here, her 3rd year here with our staff. And so she she knows, she knows the deal. She knows what's expected. She knows the day in, day out, expectations for our team. And she's someone that upholds that standard, upholds that culture for us every day. So she's been someone who has been a real bright spot, coming in every day, ready to work. And her leadership has been tremendous for us this year.
Lindsay, we have time for one final question. It's from Betsy Halford at the Pioneer.
Hey, Lindsay. Thanks so much for doing this.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, now that you've been back at the U for a couple of years and you've been able to get more of your own players and own recruits in, does this program, this team now have the feel that you had envisioned and hoped to create when you first took over?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting there. It's a process. It's something that we talk about and we work forward and we hold each other to every day. So I feel really, really upbeat about this team. It's been since September. It's been just one day at a time in here working, but really building towards something that we can all be really proud of. So everybody's come in with a great mindset. Everybody's come in after the summer and being home and now being back. We did a lot of work via Zoom, just like this, like everybody's doing. But we did a lot of work and as far as getting to know teammates and culture and building. So now to see it on the court every day when there's adversity in practice. Every day, every practice brings a little bit of adversity that you have to work through. So to see them do that together has been really cool, and I'm very proud of them.
Coach, thanks again for joining us today. All the best for a successful season.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. The next coach on the call is Rutgers C. Vivian Stringer, who's set to begin her 50th season on the sidelines and the 26th with the Scarlet Knights. Rutgers is receiving votes in the preseason AP poll. They went 22-9 last year, tying for 5th in the Big Ten at 11-7, and they were projected to earn a berth in the NCAA tournament for the second consecutive year. The Scarlet Knights have 3 starters and 6 letter winners returning this season, led by senior guard and preseason co-player of the year, Arella Garantis. Coach, thanks again for joining us this morning. Would you mind starting off with a quick statement, and we'll take some questions from the media?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Look, this has been a real different year, and the only thing you can do is be a part of it and join in as best you can. Much like when Lindsay was saying, it's definitely different, but it's encouraging for us to see how our players have adapted and how anxious and excited they are to get started. And so this is a trying time, but we're really grateful. And I'm really proud of our players, the way that they've approached all of this, because they truly wanted to play. And there's no lack of leadership or enthusiasm when it comes down to. In fact, when I had a conversation with some of the parents earlier, one of the players started to cry because she thought that I was canceling the season. And it wasn't that. We waited until it was very late before we brought the players back to campus. So, it was encouraging to see. And that same level of enthusiasm is what I've seen from our team, and in particular, the freshmen, because we have a lot of freshmen this year.
Thank you, Coach. We'll take questions from the media at this time. As a reminder, if you have a question, please raise your hand in Zoom or indicate that in the Q&A window. We'll start things off with Christy Winter-Scott from BTN.
Hello, Coach. First of all, congratulations on your 50th year coaching women's basketball. I adore you, and you know that, but I just had to say that before any questions. You were speaking about your freshman class, and we all know how dynamic they are, just looking at their stats coming into your program. But I want to go with Diamond Johnson and what she presents as a point guard for your team, and what she's looked like so far with everyone else on the floor, especially Garantes, and the chemistry there.
Well, I'm excited. Thank you so much for your congratulations. And let me say this, I really am excited to bring the players back to campus. But Diamond Johnson, she's the truth. You know, seriously, she is the truth. And the beautiful thing about her is she doesn't take anything for granted. She works hard every single day. And she, along with Arella Grantes, are going to make a dynamic duo. But the beautiful part about all of this is that all of the freshmen are buying in. They keep, as we say, keep their curtains open. They're willing to learn. And that's the first step toward any level of success. And so we're real happy that the players have taken that particular attitude.
And just to follow up on that really quickly, with the other freshmen coming in, how adaptable and how wide open have their curtains been to adapting to the philosophy that you've set forth?
No, that's interesting because they are extremely patient, or upperclassmen are extremely patient. And because there's so much that our freshmen have got to learn, but they're complimentary. They continue to remind us that time is running out and we've got to get busy and put a lot more things in, and that's okay. That's really okay. But the enthusiasm and the level of support that we're getting from the entire team is just incredible. You know, I can honestly say that this is a special group. I mean, truly, it is a special group. They enjoy being around each other. They'll make any kind of sacrifices that they need to make, and they, you know, it's tough, you know, with the COVID and being isolated as we are. But I'm extremely proud of them. It's hard to do, but they're there and they're happy to be there, and I just know that they're going to step up and do wonderful things. You know, it's like the freshmen. Let me say it like this: more often than not, it's they don't know what they don't know,
right?
And that's true, and that's a beautiful thing, because when a player doesn't approach you know, an event or an obstacle, another team, with the notion of, well, I don't know if we're good enough or whatever. That's not the way this team, they believe they can take on the world. And that's a beautiful thing.
Thank you so much, Coach.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Coach. We have time for one final question. It's from Debbie Antonelli at ESPN.
Good morning, Coach. First of all, let me echo everything Christy said about your 50th and how much love and admiration there is for you. My question is this. Chris Masters and Matt, your SID, we've done a little digging, and so far, I think in your 50 years, you may have had 6 players that have averaged 20 points a game, including Arella. So I want to ask you about that fundamentally with your program, and then what makes her so special.
Well, first of all, she, like many players, but we've had a number of players that are playing in the pros now. But Arella, I mean, she works so hard. I mean, every moment that she gets, she's going to practice. She doesn't know anything other than that, and she just wants to be the best. She has approached it with this mindset. I want to be the best player that there has ever been, and not only the best player that has ever been at Rutgers, but the best player that has been in the Big Ten. And let me say it like this: she does feel that she has some unfinished business. She's coming back with that mindset. We're grateful that she has come back, because she didn't need to. She would have graduated before, but I'm really proud of her. And she is coming back with a vengeance. I mean, she's working extremely hard, and she always has. And that's one of the things when Deb, you talked about the great players that one has. There's one characteristic that's very true, and that is that they have a tremendous desire to be the best. And Arella is that person. She, along with the other seniors, and that is the other seniors that we have that are willing to do whatever they needed to do. Takia Mack, she's a senior. She wants to be the Big Ten defensive player of the year. I'm sure that that Mael is approaching this totally with the thought of, I'm a senior this year, and I can, I really thank all of our upperclassmen because they've been instrumental in bringing along our freshmen. And like I said, they've been extremely patient and encouraging. And that's what I'm seeing. And I appreciate that because they're stepping up in that leadership role. But with those players, Arella and Takia and Mael, as seniors, you couldn't ask for anything better. On the other hand, the freshman group, let me say this, Zippy Broughton she's playing this game at another level altogether. It's like a light bulb went off in her head. I didn't think that she should settle for anything less than the best with what she's done, and she hasn't. I mean, it's amazing. She has a major transformation that she's made, and I'm really proud of her with that. But when you look at these freshmen, they're like babies, you might put a bib on them and they're all, babies wanting to get the Gerber food or whatever. But they're sweethearts and they're good people and they work hard and no one is thinking themselves better or more than anyone else. And so I really enjoy this group. It's a great group and lots of fun to be around.
Coach, thank you so much for joining us today. Best of luck for a successful season, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you. So thank you very much, Chris.
You bet. And the final coach on today's call is Ohio State's Kevin McGuff. The Buckeyes were ranked 20th in the preseason AP poll released on Tuesday, and were 5th in the Big Ten preseason coaches and media polls. Ohio State went 21-12 last season, tying for 5th in the Big Ten, and they finished with a number 17 RPI, which put the Buckeyes in range of a top 4 NCAA tournament seed. Ohio State will have all 5 starters and 6 letter winners back this season, led by junior forward and first-team All-Big Ten selection, Dorka Juhas. Coach, thanks for joining us. Do you have any opening thoughts on your team heading into the season before we turn it over to the media?
You know what, Chris, great to see you, but we can go right into questions from the media.
Sounds good. We'll open it up to questions then. To ask a question, please either raise your hand in Zoom or let us know that you have a question in the Q&A. And we'll start things off with Christy Winter-Scott from BTN.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Great, Christy.
Good. With Dorka Juhas now being a junior this season, just discuss how she has developed and kind of taken the leadership, not only the leadership, but just kind of the camaraderie and the philosophy enforcing role for your team so far in practices.
Yeah, she had a great off season, even though we were in this COVID environment. She spent most of the summer here. She did get a little bit of a break in August to go home, but I think just her presence around our team was really important for us. She's worked incredibly hard on her game, and she came here as somebody effective around the basket with some perimeter skills. She's worked significantly harder on her perimeter skills here the last couple of years, and she's more of a complete player now. And I think because of that, she's got a lot of confidence in her game, which is also helping her be the leader that we need her to be and that she wants to be. She's also very bright from a basketball IQ standpoint. So when you start talking about roles, and especially with some of our younger people, she can really articulate kind of what we need from them, and that helps the roles kind of come together.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And next up will be Chris Foster's, also from BTN.
Hey, Coach. Good to see you. It seems like it's been a pretty quick turnaround from when you at one point had 5 new starters who had never played together before, and now you've got all 5 starters back. So just differences in coaching a group that's got legitimate experience like this, and how maybe you can hit the ground running this year.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I think the biggest difference for us is last year we had basically all new starters, and we had
8 new people in the program in general who were going to play. And so we had to go a lot slower last year in just terms of a lot of teaching early on. And I think we're further along this year. I think our conditioning is in a better place. And we've just been able to accomplish more in the preseason with a lot more people coming back.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Next up is Debbie Antonelli from ESPN.
Hey, Kevin, good morning. We know Dorka is a focal point, but can you please talk about Aaliyah and Braxton and JC and Madison, with them coming back, what it means to have that veteran experience in the backcourt, particularly this year where there's a lot of really good guards?
Yeah, thanks, Debbie. As we talked about, Dorka is extremely talented and really has flourished here and just her game just growing. But I think one of the strengths of our team is going to be our leadership out of Dorka, Aaliyah, and Braxton, with them being upperclassmen, have now played a lot of minutes in college basketball. They all look really good right now, and they're doing a great job in practice. And then Madison and JC had just outstanding freshman campaigns, and they work incredibly hard. They were just relentless in the offseason about getting better. I think they're both a little bit stronger, which is an area where they had to really improve. They came in and they've changed their bodies and they're in great shape. And so that's a great core for us, that starting 5 that we have coming back. And I'm excited about what they're going to be able to help us accomplish.
Our next question is from Howard Megdal at The Next.
Coach, thanks for taking the time to do this. I wanted to talk about Dorka's next steps. And obviously, when you think in terms of where she's headed to become the professional, having that jump in 3-point percentage, going from 25 to 39.6, if memory serves, is significant. What do you think she needs to do over this final 2 seasons to get to being where she needs to be to start a WNBA career?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head with the first big jump she made from freshman to sophomore year. Her 3-point percentage went up significantly, and it was odd because her freshman year, I don't think her percentage was reflective of her ability, but it kind of, that's how the way it played out. So she was much more consistent there. So I think this year you'll see her put the ball on the floor and be a little more creative off the dribble. And I think she'll need to be, because the way she shot the 3 last year, people will try to chase her off the 3-point line. Also this year, she's really long and she's quick and she's very bright. So defensively, you'll see her switching a lot more with ball screens and hopefully keeping like smaller, quicker guards in front of her. And I think those 2 things would really play well at the next level. So she's worked really hard in those areas, and I think you'll see that this year.
Appreciate it, Coach. Good to see you.
Yep, likewise.
Coach, our next question is from Mike Bassetti at ohioversuseveryone.com.
Hey, Coach. How is Ricky Harris doing from a health perspective? And are you guys dealing with any other kind of nagging or lingering injuries heading into the season?
We're doing okay right now. I mean, we're kind of banged up. We've practiced really hard in the preseason, so we've got some nicks and some bruises and some sprains and so forth, but nothing that, hopefully, knock on wood, is long term. But specifically to Ricky, she's done a great job. Now, she had just a rash of injuries at the end of her high school career, her shoulder or knee. So we redshirted her last year to try to get her healthy, and I think that was obviously the right move for her and for the program. And she did a really good job in the offseason rehabbing. She's looking good right now. She's a very bright player. She's a really tough kid, and I think she's going to carve out a really important role for us this year.
Coach, we have time for one final question. It's from Jacob Bengi at Buckeye Grove.
Hey, Kevin, it's good to see you this morning.
Yeah, likewise.
You return a lot of experience and your starters from last season. Talk about the impact that the loss of several transfers is going to have on your roster, and who's going to step up in their place.
Well, I mean, I think just quite frankly, last year we had a whole bunch of players that could play, which was a good thing, but we just really, at the end of the day, we're probably going to have a hard time moving forward and carving out the role that they all wanted. So, hopefully the kids who did leave, they find what they're looking for elsewhere. But I really like the group that we have. I think our chemistry is as good as it's ever been since I've been here. And I think we have a chance to have a special season. And so it should be fun. I'm really impressed with the other Big Ten teams. I think this is as much parity as we've had in the league since I've been here. So it'll be really interesting to see how it plays out, and hopefully everybody can stay healthy and we can get this season in, because I think it's gonna be a great one for Big Ten women's basketball.
Thank you.
Yep.
Coach, thanks again for joining us. All the best for a successful season.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Chris.
You bet. And that wraps up today's Big Ten women's basketball coaches preseason Zoom call. I'd like to thank the coaches and media for joining us today. Just a reminder, today's call was recorded. It will be posted and archived for playback this afternoon on the women's basketball page at big10.org. The viewing link will also be distributed to our media email list, and those media members who are wishing to download a video of the call should contact me directly at cmasters@big10.org to request that file. In addition, all content from our 5th annual Big Ten women's basketball preview is now available online through the Big Ten women's basketball social media accounts and the official Big Ten women's basketball preview website at big10.org/WBB preview. Thank you again for your coverage of Big Ten women's basketball, and have a great day.